If you intend driving this pass, we recommend that you watch parts 1 and 2 first. Part 3 and the final video in this series on the Robinson Pass deals with the northern descent, which starts at the 867 meter high summit point and ends 9 kilometers later, having descended 358 vertical meters, producing an average descent gradient of 1 in 25. The steepest parts of the descent are at 1 in 11, which is the maximum gradient that engineers aim to keep things at on modern roads. The northern descent is often overshadowed by the more dramatic southern section, but although the northern section of the pass doesn't have the same views as the southern side, it is nonetheless beautiful and worth enjoying to the full. A well-farmed but narrow valley lies far below, with its green orchards in stark contrast to the more barren landscape typical of the Little Karoo. The descent has a total of 16 corners, bends and curves, of which 4 are in excess of 90 degrees and 2 of them are semi-hairpins. From the summit, the road heads into the northeast via a gentle right-hand curve for 400 meters, where the first sharp corner is reached. A tall red and white telecoms tower can be seen on the right. This bend is a semi-hairpin curling through 135 degrees, but it has positive banking which makes it fairly safe. Once through this bend, the road straightens out and a beautiful vista of mountains comes into view, where the road can be seen snaking its way through some cuttings and bending away at a steady descent gradient towards the right. Watch your speed here, as some of these corners are deceptively sharp. The Robinson Pass is the favoured route for heavy commercial vehicles heading for Mossel Bay from Oudtshoorn, and it's a given that you will encounter several slow-moving trucks on the pass. Don't take chances overtaking when barrier lines indicate it's not permissible to do so. At the 14-kilometer point, the direction changes from northeast to north as the road follows the course of the valley. Soon the gradient eases off to a much easier 1 in 35 as several farms are traversed, including the well-known Sonop farm, which is the end point of the Attequaskloof Pass. Once the valley opens up onto the wider plains of the Little Karoo, the vegetation rapidly changes to the more arid scrubland typical of the Karoo. This 60-kilometer wide plain forms the Little Karoo and is limited in the south by the Outeniqua and Langeberg ranges, whilst the Swartberg Mountains form the transition into the Great Karoo. The Little Karoo is distinctly greener and receives more rainfall than the Great Karoo and produces a large amount of produce for local and overseas markets. For most travellers, this will feel like the end of the pass, but it continues descending gently for a further 5 kilometers and officially ends at the crossing of the Moerasrivier at the 20.2 kilometer point at an altitude of 509 meters above sea level. Continue on the R328 for a further 30 kilometers via the Brakpoort Pass to arrive at a T-junction with the R62 route. Here you can turn right to Oudtshoorn, which is 2 kilometers away, or you can go left to Calitzdorp, which is 50 kilometers distant.